afternoon. My name is Bobby Brownlee, and it's my privilege to introduce to you the 2018 candidates for the Board of Directors. On the first Saturday in March, Pecan Plantation Owners Association members will vote for 3 of the board candidates to join the 6 remaining candidates. Today we have the opportunity to meet 5 candidates for those 3 places, and each candidate will present his or her perspective of governance of our association. Each will give an overview of his or her background, qualifications, and plans for achieving goals of the association. The candidates will be appearing in alpha order, beginning with Mr. Richard Brozick. Mr. Richard Brozick is a 14-year resident of Pecan Plantation. He encourages improved communication between management and members, and he currently serves on our Finance Committee. Mr. Brozick.
Bobby, thank you for that gracious introduction. I'm going to share with you for a few minutes on some of the rationale why I'm seeking a seat on the Board of Directors and some of my expectations. My wife Pam and I, as Bobby had pointed out, have been residents in Pecan for 14 years. We moved here in 2003, and since that time period, over 500 additional members have joined our association, and it appears likely that this trend will continue. We've had some past challenges, we have some current challenges, and we're most assuredly going to have some future challenges. I would like to be a part of those future challenges. I think my work experience has prepared me to take a seat on the board. I actually worked with people in 6 different states: California, Oregon, Connecticut, Michigan, Ohio, and Texas. Believe me, a diverse group of people. Different goals, different backgrounds, different objectives, and it actually mirrors just exactly what we have in Pecan Plantation today. One of the things I want to talk about that I think warrants some attention is, first of all, the preventive maintenance in the organization, better known as PM. I like to think of the assets in Pecan Plantation as an automobile. We have some new cars, we have some old cars, we have some cars that are probably headed towards the junkyard. And what we need to do on a regularly scheduled basis is protect the engines of those assets. We need to change the oil, we need to change the filter, we need to wash them, we need to polish them, we need to clean the interiors. And we need to do that on a regularly scheduled basis. The benefit of a preventive maintenance system are threefold. One, it defines what elements of the asset need to be PM'd. It also defines the frequency of those assets to be PM'd, and it will also determine who's going to perform the maintenance. If we follow that process and follow that procedure, we will go a long ways in preventing our assets falling into disrepair from neglect. The second thing I'd like to talk about are goals and objectives. I would like to see the board adopt a goals and objective process for the management team. That would be the general manager and his staff. That way they can be, the goals and objectives should be meaningful, they should be measurable, and they should be challenging. That gives us an opportunity at year end to evaluate their performance. Communications. Everyone agrees we need to communicate, but very few can agree on the method to do that. I have a suggestion that we can possibly do, which would be create a series of mini town hall meetings where we divorce the financials from those of the members' concerns. We can then announce in advance what it is we want to speak to, and then, as usual, the board of directors, the general manager, and just as importantly, the area managers that would be in charge of that would be in attendance to address the members' concerns. 2 areas that I think would be beneficial for Pecan to delve into is going to be HR, personnel, and also purchasing, or also known as procurement. In the HR arena, I think it's very important that we develop succession planning for the key positions in the organization. Secondarily, I think we should be looking at job descriptions job training, cross-training, and even hiring practices. Concluding with that, let's talk about the procurement piece. Procurement really is a very difficult process. It's a lengthy process, but it's a very important process. I'd like to free that up from the management staff that currently do it and get someone that is really an expert at it, because we need someone that can define contracts that are favorable to Pecan. We need to institute penalty clauses when people don't perform to the expectations or are late. So I guess if reviewing what I've just told all you folks, and you think that's something you can align yourself with, I would be very happy to have your support. Thank you very much.
Mr. Scott Karsten is the owner of Lone Star PC Repair, and he has extensive experience in negotiating contracts for goods and services. Mr. Karsten.
Thank you, Bobby. Hello, my name is Scott Karsten, and I'm currently running for the board over here at Pecan. And as Bobby said, I have several decades worth of negotiating for goods and services, whether it be in the healthcare arena or physical construction. Goods and services could be software, could be hardware products, those kind of things. And some of the challenges here that I think I can help with Pecan would be in negotiating some of the current hot topics that we have here, which is looking to rebuild the marina and work on the 19th hole, etc. I feel that my experience and background in construction and in general with negotiating, you know, we can help reduce some of those overall costs. Some of my history is building out other physical centers, similar to the building that the new pharmacy is in my computer store. So I have a couple years in working with the city and dealing with the permits and negotiating with electrical services or internet services, whatever, you know, services are required to come to the building. We enjoy living out here in Pecan. My wife and I have been out here over just over 3.5 years. We have 3 children. We love the parks out here. We love the wildlife. We love everything about living out here in Pecan, and I look forward to serving on the board and helping to get these costs under control.
Thank you, Mr. Karsten.
Thank you.
Mrs. Crystal David has work experience in financial operations as well as school administration. Mrs. David.
Hello, neighbors. My name is Crystal David, and I am running for Pecan Board of Directors. My family and I moved to Pecan in the summer of 2016 from the North Dallas area. This week, you will receive a packet in the mail containing ballots on proposed PPOA initiatives, along with all 5 candidate bios. These bios include information related to each candidate's respective backgrounds, including education, work history, and volunteer service, along with responses to various questions regarding our goals and contributions we feel we can commit to this association. I hope after reviewing the material mailed to you that you will agree my background provides me with the tools necessary to enhance our PPOA. I'd like to take this time to address why I am running for board. Living in Pecan for the past 1.5 years has provided me time to study and research PPOA and PPCC monthly and annual financials, bylaws, governing documents, committee resolutions, and the overall structures. Most recently, I served as a member of the Ad Hoc Financial Committee and worked with 3 sitting board members and other committee members to determine appropriate cost allocations percentages to propose to management. It was an eye-opening experience and one that compelled me to put my name on the ballot for this election. You see, as much as this is a community, it is also a business, and business is what I know. As many of you are aware, it has been and will continue to be my contention that our board exists to serve as an extension of our membership. The board should provide oversight and guidance to our management and should never serve as an extension of management. I believe this association must focus on developing and executing financial strategies that are appropriate for PPOA's budget and business model. We must focus on maintaining our existing amenities in a fiscally responsible way, and thus the board must hold those responsible for maintaining our amenities accountable. The information mailed to you includes many items to vote on, ranging from changes in the bylaws to a dues increase to supplement a $2.5 million loan to fund some, not all, of the proposed projects around Pecan. Let me state for the record, I do not support ballot initiative 1. Throughout my professional career, I've heard countless times, this is a business, it's not personal. And while I think in some instances that is true, in this case it is not. Pecan is personal. It's personal to every member that lives here. It's personal to me. I am not affiliated with any special interest group in Pecan, and I can confidently say that I will represent the people of Pecan without prejudice. One of my fellow candidates has stated that if elected, he will send the board back to school. And while I agree that ongoing training is critical to the success of any organization, I believe there is an education to be had within our own gates. It is paramount that the board understand the function of each department in order to provide realistic goals for our general manager and his team to achieve. If elected, I plan to work with each department manager and their subordinates to gain an understanding of each department's structure and functionality. In order to provide oversight, you must understand all components of an organization. This essential task will be my priority and my first order of business. The mission statement of the PPOA Board of Directors is to develop and implement financially sound strategic plans that will protect and enhance property values and the quality of life for Pecan property owners. It is my goal to provide transparency to our membership and to act as your representative to ensure that the board implements financially sound strategic plans to protect Pecan homeowners in all that matters. When it is time to put pen to paper and cast your vote, please ask yourselves which candidates possess the vision, the skill sets, and the gumption necessary to achieve the PPOA's mission. I believe by working together, Pecan will flourish as the community that the founders envisioned. Thank you.
Mr. Ron Liddell is our next candidate. He is retired from the United States Air Force, and he currently serves on our Safety and Security Committee and the Communications Committee. Mr. Liddell has also been a part of designing our new website. Mr. Liddell.
Hi there. You know, it just amazes me when I think about it that it's been over 50 years ago since my high school friend and I last canoed the Brazos River. That was before Lake Granbury and before Pecan Plantation. And we'll get on the river up at the Tin Top Swing Bridge. It's a 2-day trip, but the highlight of the trip was always the Day Cordova Bend. Because those days, it was just a magical place. There's wildlife you wouldn't believe, deer, huge flocks of wild turkey. Some places the water would just be white with snowy egrets. And a couple of bobcats every now and then. And if you went in the winter and looked closely, you'd almost always find at least a single bald eagle sitting on top of a tree. It was just a really magical place. Well, after that last trip down the Brazos, my friend and I finished our high school and we both went off to college. I went up to the University of North Texas and got a degree in mathematics and another one in physics. And then I took a little job in the Air Force flying jets for them, and I did that for a nice long career in the Air Force. After that, I worked in the industry as a director of quality assurance. I also was a manager, an engineer. I got tired of that, so a friend of mine and I went into business together for a number of years. Did a little real estate on the side. And one day I woke up and said to myself, I was living in California at the time, why am I not back in Texas, in that beautiful land of North Texas along the Brazos? So packed up the family and we moved back here and eventually found Pecan Plantation. And I couldn't believe it. Somebody built homes in this magical place. and it's still a wonderful place today, just as magical as it was back then, but now it's got a great community to share it with. My daughter from Florida, she's come to visit a couple of times, and she's on her way in just a few days to join us here because she thinks it's great. I've been on the Safety and Security Committee, Communications Committee, as was noted, but now I want to step it up just a notch and go represent you on the Board of Directors. We've got some issues facing the community, and I sure don't know all the answers. None of the candidates do. Well, I had a couple ideas that I think might help. I'd really like to see us take better care of our facilities and better facilities maintenance. Perhaps we wouldn't have that issue on the ballot where we had to tear down a facility and build a new one. I'd also like to get some training for the members of the Board of Directors. I'm not exactly sure I know what I'm going to do when I get there. And a little training, I think, would be really helpful for everybody. Well, there's other issues, and my time's about to run out, but I need you to talk to me about those things. I want to hear from you. Working together, there's nothing out here we can't do to keep this place as beautiful and pristine and wonderful as it was 50 years ago. Thanks for your time. God bless you all.
Our fifth board candidate is Mr. Joel Nyman. Mr. Nyman, prior to his retirement, spent more than 40 years in information technology. And Mr. Nyman is here with us now to tell us some of his goals and expectations for Pecan Plantation. Mr. Nyman.
Yes, I've been a resident here in Pecan Plantation for the last 5.5 years. And I've watched things going on here and how we do things and discovering the neighborhood. And I came to the conclusion that I wanted to run for the Board of Directors, which I did last year. Unfortunately, I wasn't elected, but I decided that I wanted to run again this year. You can read my whole bio and some answers to questions at the website and on Nextdoor where it's been posted. Basically, yes, my career was in information technology, but it was in business systems. My main job was to design, develop, implement business systems that affected all aspects of a company's business. From financial and accounting to warehouse operations to management operations, right down to warehouse operations, everything dealing with the business facets of a company. That taught me something that I think brings to the board a different perspective of common sense and logic, in a sense that everything isn't black and white in the field I worked in. You have to be able to think outside the box, and you have to use common sense and a lot of times revisit situations that you had visited before. This led me not only in my professional life, but in my personal life. I've always been careful and used logic and common sense in the decisions I've made in my personal life. Like when I've been looking for a house. Real estate agents have told me many times, Mr. Nyman, you can afford more than this. Why don't you let me find you something that will maybe more meet your wish list? And I've always said, I need something that I'm comfortable with. I know I can afford more, but you never know when things can change. And I've always allowed that logic and that common sense to guide me in both my personal life and my professional life. I would like to bring this to the board as a member of the board and counterbalance some of the academic and other backgrounds that people have. More of a common sense approach. Like I said, professionally, I was not an information technology geek. I worked with business systems and developing them, and they affected everything, right down to the last worker in the warehouse or the last clerical worker that actually had to use what I developed. It's sometimes a daunting task, and a lot of times you have to get out of your ivory tower and get down into the pit and find out what's really going on before you turn out a finished product. And there have been many times, even though doing that at the start, that I've had to go back to the drawing board and revisit the situation once all the facts were known. This is something else I want to bring to the board. I don't know how to else explain why I'm running for the board and why I feel I'm qualified. Common sense and logic has a place in this world and has a place within Pecan Plantation, and it's something I hope to bring. Now to the meat of the subjects. We have 2 ballot initiatives that are very, very important and will affect Pecan Plantation for years to come. Ballot Initiative 2 is not the main ballot initiative that we have on the ballot. I am in favor of ballot initiative 2. And I believe the tennis capacity is out. We do a lot of things for the golf course and other places within Pecan. It's something that time has come if we need the space to go ahead and do. And the same thing, it's time for probably the pickleball courts as it's a growing sport. Now for ballot initiative 1. I am in no currently on ballot initiative 1. I am that way because I just don't understand how we got to $1.75 million cost for a renovation of the 19th hole in Pro Shop. I understand we want a kitchen. I understand we need to redo the bathrooms. I understand we have some plumbing and asbestos problems. All of that can be worked at a cost less. There was a figure put into long-range planning for $300,000 for the 19th hole and $400,000 for the Pro Shop. Pro Shop doesn't need to be expanded right now. It's a captive audience. The 19th hole, I don't want to put lipstick on a pig again. I would be more than welcome to revisit this at a more reasonable cost with an eye towards expansion later on in the future with a smaller loan and a smaller dues increase if we want to get them done now. That would be one of my forces that if the ballot initiative is turned down, that we rethink. Again, it's my common sense and my logic that will dictate my decisions. I will always be open to questions from members. I will always be open to giving a truthful answer. If I change my mind on something, I will explain it and take input from every member within this community. I'm looking for transparency. I'm looking for us increasing our maintenance and operations and streamlining our management. This is what I hope to bring to the board, and I hope I earn your vote.
Thank you, board candidates, for your dedication to Pecan Plantation and your willingness to share your time and your expertise in service to our community. And Pecan members, please vote for the candidates of your choice on or before March 3rd. Thank you.